Goeiemôre almal. Ek wil net belydenis maak. Ek het nog nooit in Afrikaanse lesing aangebied nie. En pastoor het nou uitgeïnsist dit in Afrikaans wees. So ek moes alles oorskyf in Afrikaans en toe sien ek daar sit die dame. Sy sê ek verstaan nie. She would not be able to understand and I'm thinking, oh my goodness. I'm praying for a interpretation of the Holy Spirit that will help you, but it will be mainly in Afrikaans. I would please ask, especially my African friends, to forgive me, but I'm serving the pastor. Ja, my naam is Wilson Goeda. Ek is so 31 jaar getroud. I'm married 31 years. I've got 2 children. My daughter was born in New Zealand. Aroha is her name, and she's just turned 26 years old. I've got a beautiful, handsome son. He's not as handsome as I am, but my seun is Michael Andrew. Hy's 27 jaar. Word hy oor 2 weke, the 21st of May, will be his business, his birthday. Kan ek net gou vra vir almal, want ek wil niemand kwaad maak nie. Are you, as ek oorslaan na Engels toe, is dit okay? Wie gaan baie ongelukkig wees? Sal jy my vergewe vooruit? Ag, loof die Here, julle is sulke mooi mense. I have prepared everything in Afrikaans, but I'm just so conscious because I'm always working with diverse cultures and people, and everyone has the right to hear God's word in his own language. That's why we wanted to have it in Afrikaans. I'm working, when I'm in South Africa and I'm not traveling, I'm working in KwaZulu-Natal, and we've built a project in the Zulu community, and we have computer training for the children. We've got about 400 children that comes for the training, and then we have a sewing project, and we have a feeding scheme, and we have helping people that die from HIV/AIDS to give them a dignified death. My wife has started a community project, a dignity center where she works with teenage girls that find themselves pregnant. So many children that has been born in our car, and so that's what we do, but most of the time I'm traveling all over. I'm on my way to Israel to do a same seminar that we did. But that's enough of me. Today we're going to talk all about this book. En ek wil net sê, ek ken Sarah Lanier van 1992 af. Het ons nou saam gewerk. Sarah en myself behoort aan 'n organisasie met die naam van Jeug met 'n Sending, YWAM. And I met her the first time in Amsterdam. She was working with Floyd McClung, and Sarah's traveled all over. She's originally from the USA, America, suide van Amerika, but she grew up in Israel and then lived in different cultures in Latin America. So sy het 'n mengelmoes van al die kulture. En so foreign to familiar gaan maar oor hierdie hele konsep van kruis kulturele bewusting maak. The awareness that we need to have about cultures. En hoe om 'n begrip te hê vir ander kulture. So dis waaroor dit gaan wanneer ons praat oor foreign to familiar. Net die bewusmaking van dit. En I want to read a statement that I wrote down in Afrikaans. And this is what it says. My verklaring. Die skoonheid, en ek wil hê jy moet daaraan luister. Die skoonheid en die mooiheid van die wêreld lê in it's in the diversity, in die diversiteit van die mense. Dis waar die skoonheid lê. Nou dis moeilik, want ons is beïnvloed deur ons kultuur. En almal van ons, of jy dit wil herken of nie, wat hier so sit, ons is almal bias. Wie van ons weet dit? Kan ons gou die hande opsteek? Ons is almal. Want ons kultuur het ons beïnvloed. En so diep binne in ons, en ons is nie eens bewus daarvan nie, glo ons hoe ek dink en wat ek doen, en die manier van dinge doen is die enigste manier, is hier met my. En baie kere is dit die goed wat die Many times that's what the things that brings the conflict, because unconsciously we are biased. And without even thinking about it, we are thinking that's how it should be. And this book helps us. Hy bring daai bewusmaking. Nou ek wil nog iets sê. Foreign to Familiar helps us om to grapple, om te begryp, om te begrip die verskillende kulture en verskillende sienings en om dit te maximeer. In other words, how can we maximize, and I want to talk for a moment on this word maximize, but how can we maximize, and I use the word maximize, the different cultures? Kom ons praat gou 'n bietjie oor hierdie woord om dit te help my? To maximize. Kom ons praat oor dit. Wanneer ons sê we want to maximize it, dit beteken ons is bewus dat ons baie verskille het. As verskriklik baie verskille tussen ek en u. Ons is bewus van, we are conscious and aware of the differences that's within us. But we don't want to change one another. En dit is die belangrike ding. Ons wil nie mekaar verander nie. What we want to do is, we want to maximize the differences, sodat dit kan 'n geheel vorm, so that it can form something beautiful. That's what this book is all about. Not to try to tell you that you need to now change the culture. Now, I have the privilege at any given time, just about every week, I work with 39 different nationalities. I've been the president of Youth with a Mission in Suid-Afrika, waar ek hierdie organisasie lei. Ons sit hier in Johannesburg, is daar een in Pretoria, daar's een in Johannesburg, daar's nou een in Potchefstroom. Ek dink een van julle studente het sy DTS, sy discipleship skool as ek reg, daar gedoen. Wat is hom naam? Yes, en hy's nou iewers op 'n uitreiking. Ja, Burundi. And then we have in Cape Town, many in Cape Town, and the Eastern Cape was London, and PE and Jeffreys Bay, and Bloemfontein, and oral. And I had the privilege of leading this multicultural organization. And hoe lei ons dit? En dis wat hoekom ons wil praat vandag bietjie oor maximizing and culture, which is so important. So die hele idee is, let's not try to change one another. Kom ons gebruik die verskillende punte en ons vertrou die Here saam dat dit iets mooi kan word. En ek wil bietjie 'n paar stories vertel en ek wil bietjie praat oor wat is van die goed wat ons moet verander. What is some of the verskillende, what is some of the differences that we have? I want to put it on the table, is that okay? Jy weet, dan praat ons mos daaroor aan, ons mos nou nie bang nie. Wat is van die verskillende verskille wat ons het? What is the differences that we want to maximize? The first one that I want to talk about, if you work with the different cultures in your business of in die werk, sal jy uitvind die eerste ding is, in Engels noem ons dit the world view. Jou uitkyk in die wêreld. En as jy nog groot geword het in 'n Afrikaanse huis, en jy het groot geword as 'n kleerling, of jy het groot geword Spedi of Sotho, Tswana, Zulu, het jy 'n verskillende uitkyk aan die wêreld. In ander woorde, ons kan aan dieselfde ding kyk, maar ons sien twee verskillende goed. Is jy met my? Want ons wêreld uitkyk oor sekere goed is totaal anders. En so dis 'n groot verskil. En veral wanneer ons nou hierdie mense begin in die kerk inbring, hoe werk ek met iemand wat 'n verskil, ons kyk aan hierdie situasie as 'n Afrikaner van hierdie punt af. They see it completely different. Hoe werk ons met hulle? So dis 'n groot verskil. Die tweede een wat ek wil oor praat, so it's not just our worldview that is very different. Ons gaan later bietjie meer in diepte gaan. Iets wat ek noem in Afrikaans ons denkpatrone, our thinking. Man kan hy nie net dink soos ek dink nie. Verstaan ek? As ek reg, wie het al so gedink? kan hierdie jongen net, can they just think? Man, dink man, waar is jou kop? You know what I'm saying? Hoekom kan hy nie initiatief? Wat gaan aan met jou? Praat ek met die mense wat weet waarvan ek praat? En so, die verskil, the difference in our thinking. I was talking with some of the Zulu young people that I was working with. Now, my father is Xhosa, from the tribe of Mandela. My ma was kleerling geweest, so ek het nooit my pa ontmoet nie, vir die wat nou nie weet nie, en kyk aan my, maar ek het groot geword met my ma, so ek praat al die jare Afrikaans. Nou in KwaZulu-Natal is dit maar snaaks om 'n swart ou te sien wat Afrikaans praat. En ek weet sommige van julle kyk aan my en sê, hoe, hy praat mooi Afrikaans. Was nog altyd my huistaal. En ek praat oor seks voor die huwelik. En ek het hierdie groep in 'n what I noem a mentoring group. En ek sê, kom ons praat bietjie oor. Let's talk about it. Sex before marriage. En hulle sê, ooh, hi father. Umfundisi, waarvan praat jy nou? In die Zulu kultuur, it's important that we need to have sex. Ek sê, maar die Bible sê, the Bible says, ek sê, kom ek lees jy. The Bible said you can't have sex. They said, no, in the culture, in the Zulu culture, you need to have sex because just in case, if you want to marry the person, you need to know if they are fruitful. Because if they're not fruitful, then it's bad luck. Dis 'n totale uitkyk. Verstaan? So, hoe werk ons met hulle? How do we work with them? So we have all these denkpatrone, thinking patterns that's different. And sometimes, unconsciously, because we bias, kom ons wees net eerlik, ons wil mense se denkpatrone verander sodat dit soos ons was. En dis waar ons grootste konflik is dit nie waar nie. Ons wil hulle moet dink soos ons. Maar hierdie boek gaan nie oor hoe ek jou kan verander nie. Is hoe kan ek ons verskille gebruik sodat dit iets mooi kan wees. En dis harde werk. Veral vir ons wat nou al bietjie wit hare het. Ek praat nie van oud nie. The third thing, and I want to go a little bit into it later and talk about it. Culture. What is it really? But the third thing is that we have so many differences. Ons het so baie verskille wanneer dit kom by ons kultuur. Die kultuur hoe jy groot gemaak is. Wat jy doen. Jy sê dankie. Jy gryp nie net nie. Die kos nie. Nou wil die kerk het goeie ding en die pastoor se hart is mooi en hy nooi al die kinders. Jy weet kerk toe en hy het brode daar. En in sy gedagte, in his mind, where he's coming from, die kinders gaan ons nou mooi vorentoe kom, one by one, en in sy gesig kyk en sê, dankie pastoor, en dan vat hy so een broodjie, en dan gaan hy daarna toe, nou is die hele bak hier, nou sê hy, kom vat. Dat is die grootste probleem wat jy nou gedoen het, want as hulle nou daar voorkom nou jy het mos gesê, kom vat, nou vat ons. En nou sit jy in elke sak in. Now you putting into every pocket. En jy kyk aan die kinders en jy wil iets sê vir jou, jy moet hulle nou wurg, nie net nou nie. Nee, en ons is Christene, but you're a Christian, but man, something comes over you right now. En jy dink, het julle nie maniere nie. And we're dealing with such a diverse cultural understanding and differences from how you grew up and how I grew up. I remember toe ek jeug met 'n sending aangesluit het when I joined YWAM, kan ek maar 'n bietjie Engels praat? Dankie tog. Ek het nog nooit nie pastoor 'n lesing aangebied en maar ek leer. Volgende keer as ek kom mans, dan gaan ek reg wees in Afrika. So I joined YWAM. And no moenie lag vir my nie. Please don't laugh at me. I could only say 2 words in English. Yes and no. Now you must be very creative if you can say only 2 words in English, yes or no. And so we're building this 4x4, and this white guy is standing up there, and we're building it, and he looked down and he says, Wilson, give me the hammer. En ek het geen idee wat is 'n hamer nie, maar ek weet hy soek iets wat hier binnekant moet wees. Man, ek vat sommer die hamer en die saag en I just took everything to him. And he says, no, hammer. And so I go through it. Yes, hammer. Van I can only speak 2 words in English, yes or no. That's how I joined in Youth with a Mission. And so one day we're sitting around the table, and our director, our leader, is an Afrikaner, Brian Kingon. Beautiful man. And at the end of the meal, he always makes announcement. And so he got up and then ring the bell, everybody's quiet, and then he made the announcement in English. If you go out of that door and you turn right, around the corner there's I'm telling you now because I know, but I didn't hear everything. But there's a fridge, and it's the students' fridge, and you can use it. That was more or less his announcement. And I pick up some words because I couldn't speak English. Ek het net gehoor fridge en students. En dit was vir my genoeg. En so 2 dae later, 2 days later, I walk into the building from that side, and my goodness, here is this fridge that he was talking about. And I went like, oh, so he was talking about the fridge. And I opened it and I couldn't believe it. In this fridge is full. I've never seen a fridge so full like this. There is Kentucky and Coke and water and, man, apples and, I mean, brood and there's everything in, jam and butter, but everything got a name on. The Coke is called Johnny, and the chicken is Mary, and the butter is Sarah. And I look at it and I thought, my goodness, hy die mense is dan oulik, dat hulle nou die kos naampies gee. Hoekom sal jy nou 'n Coke Johnny noem? And I'm thinking, I'm going to help myself. And jy weet, en ek sê, hey, Johnny, ek is nou dors. Man, and I take a big cup. En ek sien daar's hoender, ek dog, Susan. en ek breek sommer daai hoender, nou het ek Johnny en Susan. And I took a half loaf of bread, and I went and sat in the corner. And I'm thinking, yes, ek is mal oor Wywen. Wie julle is kreatief. Dis Johnny en dis Sunny en dis jy weet. En so, die volgende dag sien ek hulle het sop voorberei, en ek dog toe ek gaan nie eet nie. Ek sit maar langs die tafel tot die announcements klaar is, en ek dog, daai yskas van ons. En ek is terug yskas toe, en vir die volgende 2 weke dank ek die Here elke dag vir Wywen dat hulle Johnny en Sunny en almal het. En 2 weke later, this one day, Brian Kingon, I was sitting next to him this day. Wat 'n groot fout maak ek, en hy lei die klokkie, en hy ring the bell, en hy make an announcement, and then I saw his face change, van wit na rooi toe. And I'm thinking, iets is verkeerd met Brian. Hy sê, daar's 'n skelm. There is a thief on this place. And if it's you, you need to come out now. And I want to tell you what this thief is stealing. He's stealing chicken and Coke and cars, and he goes through the things. And I'm sitting there, and every time he mentions something, there's a tick. You know, I'm going like, I know it's not me, but how come everything he mentioned? And he says, if it's you, you better come to my office. Ek dog, and now I'm upset. I mean, how can you have a thief in the place of God? And so, 2 o'clock, I walk into his office. Ek sê, Brian, I'm so sad. I'm so upset. Hy sê, hoekom Wilson? Why? I said that we can have a thief in this holy place. This is God's place. He said, that's why I made the announcement. I said, but just tell me again, what is this thief stealing? Cars and chicken and everything. I said, but remember you said that fridge is ours. Everything that you mentioned, I took. But I wasn't stealing. I took it because you said it's our fruit. See, within my culture, what is mine is yours. Are you with me? And now, Brian is telling me, and I look on his face, and he's very upset. He says, "Neil Wilson." Now speak Afrikaans with me. He said, "Neil Wilson." Now when I joined YWAM, I called him Baas. Because that's what I knew. He says, "Neil Wilson," ek sê, "Brian, maar jy het gesê, dis ons vriend." Ek sê, "Ek weet net nie, hoekom sit hulle name op die goed nie." I just don't know why they put names on. And Brian says, "Wilson, they put names on because they market it's theirs." And I had no concept. And he looked at me and he realized he can't ask me to ask for forgiveness. Because if I ask forgiveness, I will never be free because I have no conviction. And forgiveness without conviction is condemnation. And he says this. Wanneer ons verskille beginne maksie, and we don't want to change people, but we want to help them to understand. As hy met my. En hy sê, "Wilson, elke dag 2 uur, hy sê vir niemand nie. Niemand weet ek is die thief nie. Want Brian kon sien, ek het geen openbaring nie. En if you confess anything without revelation, it always leads to condemnation. You will be sorry, but you will never change. You will never change." And so the next couple of days, he began to talk to me about the white culture and how we live in community. And the fact that we live in community, because we don't have everyone, that's why everybody marks it. They pay everything with their own money. And according to our culture, Wilson, you stole. And one day I was listening to him, and it was not even 5 minutes when I started to break down. And I wept and I wept. Because for the first time, I had the heart of God. Over a difference in my culture. And the way I'm using it. Can you see what I'm saying? And I just knew. And Brian didn't say anything. He just put his arm around me and he prayed for me. And the next day, listen to this, the next day, we're sitting at the table and eat. Nobody knows we had these afternoons. And at the end, when Brian rang the bell, he stood up and he made an announcement. And at the end of his announcement, because he saw the conviction of the Holy Spirit upon me, he hasn't changed me. But when you are convicted by God, you will be forever changed. And he says, Wilson wants to say something. Hy het my nie eens gewaarsku nie. Wilson wants to say something. And I stood up in front of 120 people, only 4 people of color. And I stood there and I looked my fellow students in the eye. And I said, I want to ask you to forgive me. I am the thief. I'm the one that stole your food. I'm the one that stole that cheese, that chicken, that bread. And I remember how he helped them to stood up and speak forgiveness over me, and how they came and embraced me. And it was just one of the things that shaped my life to begin to understand. We might have a lot of differences, but God has the potential to use our differences so that it becomes something beautiful. Are you guys with me? Sometimes it will take a little bit patience, like Brian, where you don't just chase him away, that you sit and talk to him. Can you see what I'm saying? I would have never been Wilson if Brian has forced me. Ek sou miskien nou nog gesteel het. Is u met my? Maar Brian het beginne besef ons verskille. He has to help me with our differences, which is so important. Ons verskille in ons menings en ons standpunte. En ons het baie verskille in ons standpunte. Hoe ons die wêreld sien en wat ons dink van die politiek. Ek wil nie eens hê ons beginne praat van vir wie skree ons nie, van ons het verskillende standpunte. hoe gaan ons mekaar vind? Hierdie boek gaan daaroor, waar hy ons help, our traditions, our coups. And then I just want to, as an example, before I go to point number 2, I want to just, for a brief moment, talk and show you something that happened in front of our eyes. I want to talk about the Springboks for a moment. Can I? Ek weet julle hou nie van rugby hier binne nie. Maar ek wil net vir 'n oomblik praat oor die Springbokke. Een van die goed wat Rassie Erasmus met sy span reggekry het, is to maximize the differences within that team and bring and synergize it in such a way that, that people that came from backgrounds of backgrounds of thinking, I will never make it, Rassie maximize that diversity and help them to think, but I can become a Springbok and I can be a winner. I salute him for what he did with the Springbok team. Not changing them. What Rassie did was astonishing. That when the Springboks walked out and they walked in high tunnel, then you hear they begin to sing a song. Die Bokke, have you heard that song? And Rassie never decided, because he's Afrikaans, that he's going to stop them singing. He embraced their differences and say, how can we maximize it? Ons gaan nie julle ophou laat sing nie. Maar maak net seker that it's inclusive and that it builds to the team unity. Is u met my? And now, those Springboks, those black guys, they said they have never met somebody like Rassie that made them sit down and embrace their differences and they can be themselves. We never reach our goal when we want to change people. Never. Because God has never intended that we must change people. Jesus says in Matthew 16, and John 16, that I will send you the Holy Spirit and He will come and convict you. Our job is never to try to convict people and change them so that they become like us. And Rassie changed that whole individualistic. You see, the Springbok team is made up of our communities. Are you guys with me? But he changed that whole individualistic and little bit, jy weet, ek kom van hierna toe en ek kom van daarvan en die ander ene daar gewerk is on, and he changed them in a broederbondskap like never before, and they fighting for one another. And you hear Peter Steff stood up there and the thing when we listen to Chasing the Sun, he says that julle bang. And everybody tells you afterwards when he spoke, it wasn't a white man that spoke, it was one of our brothers. He never talks, but when he talks, can you see what I'm saying? Because he has built this cohesion, this synergy, this inclusiveness. And that's the challenge that this book is bringing us. Nou ek gaan nou in vinnig hardloop in diepte in en dan gaan ons gou 'n breek kry. Spangees. I mean, I can talk for hours around Rassie. I just love what he was able to do with a picture of South Africa and bringing them together and not changing them. And that Peter Steff can speak Afrikaans and he can express himself in Afrikaans and the guys can be who they are. And that's God's ultimate goal. Dat ek het was gister uitgeneem by die pastoor. En toe het ons hier uitgery, ek breek nou so 'n bietjie. En toe het ons hier uitgery. Daar's 'n lekker plek so langs die pad. En toe het ons daar gaan eet, die lekkerste plaaskos. Ek weet nie was u al daar nie. Ja, ek bid vir julle om genoeg geld te kry om daar te gaan. And I'm sure when I sit there, there were some of those white people that look and thought, joh, en nou wie's daai swart man wat daar sit? And maybe some of the people around the table was uncomfortable. But that's what we need. Moet bietjie, sometimes we need to be uncomfortable with one another sodat ons kan deurbreek, sodat ons mekaar kan lief hê soos God wil hê. And we have to stop being so shallow, like the pagans outside in the church. En dan sê ons is lief vir Jesus. Kom ons beklei man. And let's talk it out. But afterwards, let's kiss one another and wash one another's feet. And build this and yes, on Sunday evening when I was standing here and I preached, I had a vision of this church. And I believe this church will become, and I want to just say this word that I felt God was saying. I felt God was saying this church will become like a big tree, and the birds of the air will come and make nest. And people will come from different places, and this is where they will come and find a place to make nest because of what you're building here. And in the spirit, when I was standing here last night, I just saw this big tree, and it will become one of the tallest trees in this whole community. Nou, ons moet nie groot koppe kry nie. Ons moet net sê wat pastoor wat jy doen is what God wants. Now, if you are here from a different church, please don't think, what about me? I'm just telling what I saw yesterday. And that the words that God says that this church will become like a big tree, and the birds of the air will come and make nest. And it will be something beautiful, and the nations will come, not just local people. Die tweede ding wat ek wil sê, ons gaan nou teebreek uit. Die tweede ding. Eerste ding is, ons wil ons verskille maximize. Die tweede ding is, it creates, dit skep 'n geleentheid vir God. It creates an opportunity. Opportunity for what? It creates an opportunity dat ons ophou praat van ons werkers en die persoon wat in my huis werk en die mense in die kerk, that we stop talking about julle en ons. That we begin to talk about us. Want ons is 'n span. And that's the beautiful thing that I also noticed with the Springboks. How they talk about us and we as the Springboks. 'n Holistiese by mekaar kom. Dat dit ons is. Dat dit ons span is. Ek was nou die dag daar in Bethlehem. Toe 'n besigheid, groot besigheid my uitgenooi. Ek moet my getuienis kom gee. Was een van die mooiste goed, Afrikaners. Groot besigheid in trokke betrokke. Oral oor Suid-Afrika. Hulle begin geen oggend sonder 'n gebed nie. Hulle span is al hierdie mense van waar ook al. And they're so beautiful. I've never seen that picture, and I know that God will bless them. Because hulle het hard gewerk om te praat van ons span. Wilson, can you come and talk about our team? And how we can maximize. And it was beautiful to talk and give my testimony for them. Dat God ons, en ek kan dit glo, dat toe die kerk begin hier oopmaak vir ander etniese groepe, is dit maar moeilik, verstaan ek. Ons is nie dit gewoond nie. Ek kan onthou die eerste keer toe ek in die NG Kerk instap in Bloemfontein, die grootste moederkerk. Toe ek instap daai oggend en gaan sit daar voor. Half of the people that were sitting around me, they walked out. They walked out because a black guy has just walked into the church. En ek kan onthou, toe die dominee my oproep, toe staan ek daar voor. En ek sê, goeiemôre gemeente. En die paar wat nog oorgebly het, they couldn't even look in my face. I've never felt so rejected. And it was the first time in my whole life that I wanted to walk out of a church and not give any excuse. En net toe ek my Bybel so wil vat en uitloop, toe sê die Here, jy sal dit nooit doen nie. You will come in the opposite spirit. You would love them because they are my people. Jy het net bietjie groot verskille. Maar ek het vir hulle gesterf. En ek is lief vir hulle. En ek staan daar en ek gee my getuienis. En ek huil en ek was hulle voete. En na die tyd toe nooi die dominee my vir 'n ete by sy huis. En ons sit daar buitekant by sy huis, beautiful, and we sit. And that day, I don't know why, I wear ek het 'n tie aangesit van die nasies. And while we eating and talking around the table, staan die dominee op en says, Wilson, is dit moontlik, ek wil jou vriend wees. is dit moontlik dat ons vandag kan taaie ruil. Want ek voel ek wil vir altyd hierdie dag onthou wat die Here in my lewe. En ek sê ja, Dominee, ek staan op aan die ander kant van die tafel en ek haal my taai af. En ek gee hom my taai van die nasies en hy gee sy taai vir my. And I will never forget that. Want ons hoef nie mekaar se voete te was, ons kan maar net die taaie ook change. En die Here doen iets in ons harte, because we give God an opportunity to work. Ons gee die Here 'n geleentheid om 'n gehele beeld te skep van Suid-Afrika en van hierdie mooi mense en van hierdie land. Dat God ons sieninge sal verander, dat hy eenheid sal bring, dat hy spanwerk sal bring in ons lewens. En dis wat Johannes Openbaring, jy hoef jou Bybel oop te maak. Dis wat Johannes gesien het in Openbaring 7 vers 9. And this is what it quote says. And I look and I saw in front of the throne room people from all what? Help me. Ek kan nie hoor nie. People from all? Dis die geleentheid wat ons God wil gee. Dat voor die troonkamer van die Here, dat ons mense sal sien, van alle nasies, van alle tale, van alle kulture, and from every ethnic group. En daai woord nation, in die Grieks, is dit ethnos, ethnic. It means when God looks down on South Africa, we're not a nation, we're not a political nation when God looks to our nation. We are an ethnos. We are a nation of many ethnic groups. We have Afrikaners. And that's why we have to honor them. Because they have a gift from God. And we have die Rooinekke, ek hoop julle is hier binne nie. And we have the English. Het ons van die Rooinekke, ek ben stadig. And we have the colored people. And we have the Zulu people. Are you guys with me? And we have, and when God looks at us, we are his ethnos, his ethnic groups. We are his nation. And may we all come together on a Sunday and worship him the way it will bring life to him. The third point. So why do we do it? And the book is saying that we're doing it so that we can have this holistic picture. That's why we need to really work with our cultures. Die derde ding wat belangrik is. Ek het so 'n paar punte tot 12 uur toe, ons gaan nou 'n tee vat of 'n break vat. Gee nog so 'n bietjie kans. Ons het 10 uur begin, is amper 11 uur en dan vat ons so 15 minute 'n break. Is dit reg? OK. Ja, ek wil nie ons moet breek. OK. Jy moet vir ons begin vertel, wat is hot en wat is cold? Ek kom. Ek is op pad daarna toe. OK. Ek is op pad daarna toe. Nou, maar ek het julle almal pizza bestel vir 12. OK. Ek is op pad daarna toe, maar voor ons by dit kom, is dit belangrik net om bietjie te verstaan. En dan gaan ons praat oor wat is nou 'n hot en wat is 'n cold climate, ons sal daar kom. Kom ons gaan na punt nommer 3 toe. Kom ons gee gou 'n voorbeeld van, waar sal ek begin? Kom ons gee 'n voorbeeld van 'n koue klimaatpersoon. Net 'n voorbeeld, sodat julle net 'n idee kan kry. Kom ons doen dit nou. Nou, as ek 'n vraag vra in die kerk of in die werk, as ek 'n vraag vra, wie dink julle gaan die hande opsteek om te antwoord? As ek 'n vraag vra in die kerk, wie dink julle gaan die hande opsteek? Ek kan nie hoor nie. Die een wat die antwoord ken. Nou ek wil hê jy moet nou mooi luister en dan moet jy mooi gaan kyk wanneer jy teruggaan na jou groepie toe. Wanneer jy begin werk met jou mense, of dit nou by die werk is of nie. Ek wil net 'n voorbeeld gee. Nou ek het die geleentheid om elke week voor 'n groep te staan, en dan vra hulle of ek sal 'n vraag vra. En dan 99% van al die tye, die mense wat hulle hande opsteek, is the cold climate people. Is die mense, en ons gaan net op praat van waarvan hulle kom, is what we would say, as ons van Suid-Afrika praat, die westerse. Dis die wit mense. 99%. Wanneer ek 'n vraag vra, it will be the white people that put up their hand and answer it. Now we want to go into it and look at it. Why is it so important? I'm just using this as an example. Always white people. Why? Want binne ons, kom ons gebruik nou maar die woord Afrikaner of ons wit, want binne ons wit kultuur, in die kultuur self is dit 'n vereiste dat wanneer daar 'n vraag gevra word, dan moet jy dit beantwoord wanneer jy die vraag ken. Dit is deel van jou kultuur, is dit nie waar nie? Dis 'n vereiste. Jy dink nie eens daaraan nie. Maar wat lê agter dit? Wat is die dieper ding agter dit? Wel, die dieper betekenis binne die kultuur van die Afrikaner of die wit mense is, want dit wys jou dat jy het meer kennis. Jy het meer kennis as baie van die mense in die kamer, of in die gebou, or in the room. You have more knowledge. So that's the deeper thing, why you answer it. You're not thinking about it. The second thing, why most of it will be, because it also not only show you that you have more knowledge, but you are more intelligent. Ek is beter as julle, but you don't think about it. It just happened naturally. Ek ken it. I know the answers. We'll look at the hot climate in a moment. And then the last one. I'm just making an example of a cold climate person. Why they most of the time will do that. In Afrikaans, want dit gee vir hulle 'n meerderwaardige gevoel. Huh? It gives you what is meerderwaardig in Engels? A superior feeling. 'n Meerderwaardige gevoel. Maar luister nou mooi hier. That's when a cold climate person, and we go into all the things that they do. Don't worry, I've prepared it all. But let me give you about a hot climate, 'n warme kultuur. In Suid-Afrika, jou typiese swart mense, jou black people. If I would ask the same question in the room to the hot climate people, as ek dieselfde vraag moet vra vir die mense of jou Afrika kultuur, wie gaan die vraag beantwoord? Who's going to answer? If I asked in the African culture a question, who's going to answer, do you think? I can't hear. The chief. The chief. Therefore, because the chief speaks, only when the chief, aanleenlik wanneer die chief jou uitpiek, when he picks you, you speak. You never speak unless he point to you. So when we come in the church and the pastor asks the question of 'n werkplek, unconsciously, the African guy will never respond back. Only when you put and pressed on him, Yanni, then Yanni will speak, because now you what? You pinpoint on him. Because the culture inherently says only the chief speak, and the chief give permission who need to speak. So listen to this. Nou hier's die probleem. Die probleem is, as jy nie if you don't understand this difference, then you will assume just because you ask the question and they don't answer that they are stupid. Dat hulle is dom, want hulle antwoord jou nie. Don't make that mistake to think they're stupid just because they have not answered you, because you have not maximized the culture. And therefore you have excluded them. You're not bringing them in how they can bring their contribution. And therefore, daarom kan ons nie leierskap binne jou Afrika konteks op dieselfde kriteria kies soos wat jy wit mense kies nie, of soos wat jy westerse kies nie, because it's two different criteria. See, when we choose people in the West as white people, the first criteria is the person must be able to be on the verhoog, né? En hy moet kan praat en hy moet kan daar wees op die verhoog. Well, no African will be on the stage because he will only be there when it's called upon him. Only when you ask him to come, then you will find out he's ready. He's not stupid. You just never asked him. So, binne jou warm, your hot climate culture, you always, when you lead a group, you always has to stop, and dis wat ek altyd doen. Says, sorry, jy het klaar gepraat before you gaan talk. What's your name, brother? Lindo. And then I would say, Lindo, what do you think? And then it will take a little bit of time. Because I call upon Lindo, he will be ready. And when I'm finished, I'll ask him. I said, brother, what's your name? Prince. I said, Prince, what do you think? See, now, without them knowing it, I now operate as the chief. Can you see what I'm doing? I now operate. In die verskille wat ons het, I now step into the place of the chief because now I handpicked them. I said, you speak, and you speak. And all of a sudden, now you begin to hear their opinion. They have an opinion on the question you ask. You just never include them in the way. Sometimes, we have many times, because of that diversity and that differences, we have many times labeled them then as stupid and dumb. But then the African culture has also labeled the Western and the white people dat, en Afrikaans sal hulle sê, jy's voor op die wa. You just always wants to talk. And so that's what we accuse you. Can't you just shut up? Jy wil net praat en altyd sê, can't you listen? And you are thinking, maar jy is dom. Hoe kan jy nie weet nie? En ons mis mekaar, because dis nie dat ons dom is en voor op die waan is, net jou kultuur wat jou dryf om te sê, as daar 'n vraag gevra word, moet ek antwoord. En ek moet, as ek hier antwoord, and we struggle to know the answer and not say it. Verstaan, nou sukkel ons, want ek ken dan die antwoord. Wilson, en dan is hulle kwaad vir my, want ek maak hulle stil, en die hande is op, ek sê nee. I said, what about you? And I use I don't want to use the word authority, to then navigate and take this group to where synergy is. And I will tell you, jy praat te veel. Is my werk. Dis hoekom ek daar is, en ek help hulle. And then I look in the group and I know who's the people that hasn't speak. En dit is so belangrik. En dit is ook belangrik wanneer ons, ek wil dit net sê, wanneer ons, when you choose your leadership, the leadership in the church, don't always assume because people are quiet and reserved that they don't have the quality for leadership. In the African culture, it's just different. The chief is always the one that speaks. But on the right time, when you ask, I will be standing up. And I will be in meetings. Now, I've learned over the years, I've been in Youth with a Mission for 36 years. My mond is maar bietjie groot, en ek dink ek het oor die jare, jy weet, I think I've been shaped And I have the privilege of having the holistic approach, so I can work with different cultures. That's why I've been working and traveling over 80, twee keer 'n jaar in Germany. And then when I'm in Germany, I'm trying to be a German, so that I don't impose African. And I'm flying now to Israel, and so over the years it helped that we learn to have that balance as we start working with them. So when we choose people, it's very important that we don't use the same leadership style and criteria of wanting to bring people in, whether it's the deacons or the ouderlinge. Punt nommer 5. En ek dink ek wil so net bietjie langer praat, en dan gaan ek praat oor die verskillende code en wat hulle doen en hoe reageer hulle in verhoudings en so on. That's where I want to go. Now, I've talked a lot about culture and how culture defines us. And it does. Culture defines us all. And culture, ons kan nie kultuur uitmekaar vat nie. It's who we are. So culture shaped us. Are you with me? It's who we are. You can't separate yourself from culture and thinking, oh, I can do this and this. And so culture has this influence greatly upon us. Culture is die taal wat ons praat, hoe ons groot geword het. We can't get away from culture because it's so centered to who we are. But, en hier kom het. Maar die grootste ding wat konflik veroorsaak in die werkplek en binne die kerk is ons kultuur. Ons kultuurverskille wat so groot is, wat dan toelaat dat daar 'n konflik is. En baie kere wat ons wil doen, wat nie die beste oplossing is nie. We want to change people so that they can become like us. And the more we want to do that, the more the conflict will be. The more the rebellion will come. The more people will stand up, because God's intention has never been that we would do that. That's why het is so belangrik vir almal van ons wat hier so sit, dat jy moet you know the scripture in the Bible that says you need to love your neighbor as you what? As you love yourself. Jy moet jou naaste lief hê soos jy jou. Jy kan nooit met ander kulture werk wanneer jy nie jou eie kultuur embrace het nie. Wanneer jy nie vrede gemaak het oor wie jy is nie. So dit is baie belangrik as 'n Afrikaner dat ons nie verskoning maak as gevolg van apartheid nie. Is jy met my? And now, you gotta embrace who you are. And when you embrace who you are, then you can become yourself to me. En dan kan jy my lief hê. And then you can love me the way you love yourself. Because that's what God is saying. En sommige kere wil ons net, wat ons wil sê is, nee, maar moenie aan my kyk. Don't look at me as if I am part of what happened with apartheid. And we want to almost run away. Don't run away, embrace it. God had to challenge me and says, hey, don't point fingers. Dis wat gebeur het op my plaas toe ek 'n kind was. Uit die skool uitgeneem het. Just embrace it and forgive it and move on. And I had to start loving who God made me so that I can sit here and love you and dat ek jou kan hanteer soos wat die Here. So, ons moet daai fondasie hê. Van dan anders kan ons vrede kry, dan kan ons versoening sien en dan kan ons vergifnis in ons land sien, daai 3 goed. Nou, kom ons gaan nou na die vleis toe. Waar kry ons al hierdie koue plekke? Where do you find, en ek gaan nie in diepte ingaan nie, maar where does all these cold climate people live? Let's answer that question. Waar bly hulle? Hoe weet ek? Nou, the United Nations deel die wêreld op in 2 gedeeltes, en dit is waar die hele konsep vanaf kom. Die hot climate en die cold climate, en die meeste van julle sal weet, Amerika, America, for instance, and special the northern part of America, en dan Noord-Amerika, wat Canada insluit, en plekke soos New Zealand, maar ook net the white side of New Zealand, because New Zealand also have a hot climate, a culture, which I had the privilege of working with them, the indigenous people. Australië, en weer eens, Australië, die wit kant van Australië, Suid-Afrika, is ook gedeeltelik a cold climate a place, en baie van julle hier binnekant is cold climate, maar nie almal van julle is cold climate nie. Wie is cold climate? Ons sal net verduidelik wat hulle doen, maar wie dink is cold climate? Ek weet julle weet nog nie wat dit beteken nie. Die meeste van julle is cold climate. Ons sal nou verduidelik wat hulle doen en hoe hulle hanteer en wat hulle sê en al daai goed. Maar net om 'n idee te gee. En jy sal dit nie wil glo nie, as dele van Brazil wat ook baie westers of baie cold climate is, en ek het nou klaar gesê Suid-Afrika. En dan iets wat die pastoor gesê het wat nou interessant is jy gaan kyk in die wêreld waar al die hot climate is dit waar jy die meeste poverty kry. En dis interessant, waar jy die meeste armoede kry en die meeste economies that struggle, en waar daar nie baie vorentoe, or there's not a lot of economic growth. And this is interessant, net om a study, just to go and make a study upon that. I'm not saying anything, I'm just wanting to bring that out. It's a reality. Let me tell you where they are. Hierdie warm kultuur, of klimaat, plekke. Nou, Sarah Lanier, sy is van die suidelike Georgia en daai plekke in Amerika. Hulle is baie hot climate. Asie, geheel of Asie is hot climate. En dan die eilanders, Fiji, Samoa, allemaal warm klimaat mense. Suid-Amerika, Chili, Latin, so Middle East, ek het vergeet om te sê, Israel, the Jewish people, is also cold climate. And then, of course, the Palestine it's on a different level. So dit is waar al hierdie mense vanaf kom. Suid-Afrika, Afrika, en weer eens, dis mense wat goed verskillend doen, en dit is wat ons nou wil gaan kyk. Kom ons kyk aan verhoudinge. Hoe hanteer hierdie twee verskillende groepe verhoudinge? Kom ons praat bietjie gou oor hoe hulle hanteer, en ek gaan altyd na die een toe, en dan gaan ek na die ander ene toe, sodat ons net 'n idee kan kry van al twee van hulle. Hoe hanteer hulle verhoudinge? Nou, kom ek vra gou 'n vraag in hierdie kamer. Ek wil hê jy moet jou hande opsteek as dit jy sou wees. Sê net gou vir my, please tell me, and you have to put up your hands if it's you. If your neighbor plays loud music and you want to go and sleep, will you go and ask your neighbor to switch off his music? If you will, please put up your hand. If your neighbor plays loud music, will you stand up and ask him to switch it off? Just keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. I want you to be honest. Don't put up your hand. Now look around. Look around. Quickly look around. That is the extreme cold people. That's the extreme cold climate people. Het gaan nie oor verhoudinge nie. Het gaan oor die musiek. It's about the music that is too hard and I want to go and sleep. All the other people that didn't put up your hand, can you now put up your hand? The ones that didn't put up their hands, can you put up your hands? Now, here's all the people that, like me, might be completely too hot climate or has an tendency. Because the relationship is so important for you. Huh? Ja, amen, ek stem saam. Dat ek eerder daai geraas gaan vat, as wat ek nou gaan sê, man, switch off the. And so hot climate people, in their approach of relationship, it is all about relationship that comes first. Cold climate people, no, is the task. Het gaan nie oor verhoudinge nie. Listen here, tonight we can have a relationship, but it's working time. Are you guys with me? And so when they communicate with you in the work hours, it's like, why do they hate me? No, they don't hate you. They just focus, task focus. They just communicate facts. You want them to communicate, feel good, because your relationship, né? And you must, oh, how are you, my brother? Oh, you look so beautiful. That's what you want. And then you can ask. I work with a Dutch person, a Dutch couple. I was the national director of Youth with a Mission. They came to South Africa, and I sent them all around the country, and eventually they said, no, Wilson, now I've never worked with Dutch people. We want to work with you in Durban. I said, okay. I like them, and now I'm getting to know them, and I've never worked with Dutch. Oh, my goodness. And then I realized, you must never ask a Dutch person if you are hot climate. Just tell me, how do I look? Or what do you think of my haircut? Because you're not going to get that hot climate thing. Oh, you look beautiful. Oh, that's fantastic. No, the lady told me, you look ugly. Weet julle wat doen het aan my? It cut me in pieces. Because you must communicate, feel good to me. And she just told me, you look ugly. And I said, Anneke, is there another way that you could tell it to me? She says, no, you ask me. I'm Dutch. I said, okay, now I know I will never ask you certain things.
Wilson, can I go, please?
Yes, you can go. But that's how you ask. So let's just talk a little bit about that. So you will not go and tell your neighbor to switch off the music. Why? Because you are hot climate. One of the biggest differences between hot and cold climate, I'm going to give you both. You can write it down. First one, hot climate, they are relationship-based. Everybody say relationship. Relationship-based. Hulle is verhouding georiënteerd. En wat is die koue? Wie kan vir my sê, wat is die koue? Dankie. Ja. Dis wat jy daar neerskryf. Die koue klimaat is, het gaan oor die task. Dis about die taak wat moet gebeur. Daar's nie stories nie, het gaan nie oor die wind nie. It's not about how the weather is doing. It's like, have you done it? Why haven't you done it? I told you need to do it. And then, special when you're Western, and now you talk to the black guy, can you see what you're doing? And if he hasn't worked it out, he picks up you completely wrong because he labels you as racist. Can you see what he's doing? He's labeled you as racist and he's labeled you as the most terrible person because you're not ask. Hi Phileas, hoe gaan dit met jou? Oh, wonderlik. Sê vir my, het jy toe, you're not talking like that. You just communicate the task. Now that's where we as Africans need to learn because what we do is now we're reading into the communication. Oh, this guy is racist. You see, and so our perception, because we've never worked, so we have people that loves us and they really loves us, but all the time, this was jy interpret, wat is interpreteer? You interpret it wrongly. And so you always think they're racist. Why are they talking so bad with me? No. They want the task to be done. When you see him in a different context, you will be shocked how nice he is. Because then in his mind, the task is finished, it's relaxed. Can you see what I'm saying? But for us as people that is hot climate, we want relationship every day and every moment on the way to the church. Dis hoekom ons laat is. And on the way to the shop and on the way to the church. Weet jy, die pastoor moet 9:00 begin. Wanneer begin die diens? Nee, praat met my. You've been to some of the black communities. When is the church starting? No, let's talk. 10 o'clock. And he was supposed to be 9 and he asked you to come and speak. And jy sit daar vir 'n uur. By the time when he comes, jy's so rooi, jy's op enige plek rooi. You are so angry. You've gone to hell and back. And then the pastor walks in and you sitting there and it's 10 o'clock and you go like, "Oh, my brother, can you give me a hug?" And you're thinking, "Hak se voete, man." Man, wat se hak soek jy? It's 10 o'clock. You have no respect. Can you see now? Now you take that and you load culture. Jy het geen respect vir die Here nie, and for that and that and that, and we load it. And you will never work with them again. But they are so relationship oriented that it's about the event to the church. Now I know what you're thinking, and you're right. We all have to come from this side, and we all have to come from this side, isn't it? You can't change Africa, can you? No, can I ask, can you change Africa? No. So what must you do? Yeah. Maximize. We gaan ons die twee kan by mekaar bring sodat ons kan saamwerk. Are you guys with me? And that's what it's all about. Because once we start to wanting to change people, then we are in trouble. Now, inside of me, even though I am African and I am very relationally, but I'm also very task-oriented. For the last 31 years, the biggest fight in my marriage, I hope you're not recording it, but the biggest fight in my marriage is because my wife always are late. I cannot handle late. I always believe that you need to be there in time because then you can bring the presence of God and you don't have to rush. So when it comes to that, I'm not hot climate. Are you guys with me? So I have this world in me that has been shaped by how many I've worked. And one of the guys that mentored me in the beginning was German. He would be 15 minutes before the time standing outside of his door waiting for me. And you don't want a German to wait for you. And so I've learned in my relationship. Let's go to the next one. So hulle staak. They love the feeling of the relationship. A hot climate people, they always want to feel the relationship. So you always have to encourage them that they're beautiful, or you're doing well, and then you will get hulle gaan vir jou hard werk, but you will have to let them feel. You can't just be cold. Guys, come on, and when you finish there, you need to go and dig that thing, or you will get the minimum. And when you turn, wanneer jy om die hoek is, they will not work. Dan staan hulle so op die pik. See, because they're not going to, they don't have the feeling good. Can you see what I'm saying? And then when you come, and then they will act as they work. Because you're not giving them the feel good. That they can work there, whatever or for you. They're not. They will do the minimum because you're not communicating with them, and they read into your communication as you are arrogant. You look down to them. You want to tell them hulle is minder as jy, and all those things come into it, and it create conflict. And sometimes, let's just be honest with it, a lot of farmers have been killed, and sometimes it's a whole cultural misunderstanding that has been happening. And this might help us to maybe understand a little bit better. Cold climate people never expresses their feeling easily. They hold their feelings in For them, it's the tasks. And for them, it's the efficiency, what they want to communicate. So daar's nie emosie in betrokke nie. Het jy dit gedoen? Ja, ek het dit gedoen. Onthou jy, ek het vir jou gesê, as jy klaar is, moet jy dit gaan doen. En dan as jy dit gaan doen, moet jy dit gaan doen. How many of you know that that's more or less, you communicate like that without feelings? Can I see your hand, if you're honest? There's a lot of us. There's a lot of us that communicate like that. So the hot climate is feeling, the cold climate is completely different. Go to the shop, they want to make cheap talks, not the cold climate. Want to buy the thing and go home. Now, something that you also need to remember. Yes.
Before you go further,
Yeah.
on that point,
Yeah.
how do I give instruction? Want ek sê julle moet dit doen en dan moet julle dit gaan doen en dit gaan doen. Maar nou dink jy ek is rassisties
Ja.
met jou. Hoe moet ek met jou werk om daai 3 punte gedoen te kry?
Yeah. So in the question, how do I get the maximum out of this? Because if I talk to you from a cold climate perspective, then you read into that I'm racist and I'm prejudiced and I'm looking down and that. I think, and this is where we want to maximize, where we have to now take responsibility, because now I have learned that the person that I'm going to communicate interpret things different. So that's the first thing. Seek to understand. Maak het sin? You have to seek to understand, so you know. En dan moet jy vra vir die Here, and you need to help that in a way you need to communicate in such a relaxed way to this person. But I also want to say a few things that will really help here. The first thing is, if it's in a working relationship and you have that openness, is to sit down with Pietie of Jannie en sê, luister hier man, ek is bewus van ons verskillende kulture. Dis hoe ek kommunikeer, en ek weet, dit is hoe jy wil gekommunikeer hê. Maar ek wil net hê, jy moet weet, ons moet mekaar help. Daar is tye wanneer ek vir jou gaan sê, doen dit en doen dit en doen dit. Maar ek wil nie hê, jy moet dit, what's the right word? Jy moet nie, don't take it. Ja, moet nie aanstoot nie, don't be offended. Maar kan ons hieroor praat, en wanneer jy dit voel, kan jy met my praat. So there must be some sort of communication. But then I would always try to help myself in, ek weet nou, there's a way I talk to my wife when I'm with her, because we're doing everything together in leadership. There's a way I talk at home, and there's a way I talk at work with her. And I need to know when to wear that hat. So we need to learn sometimes, how am I going to put it, and how is he going to think? So, bietjie meer sensitief. Jy sal moet bietjie meer toon, maar ek dink die beste is, om in die begin, praat met die mense en sê, dit is hoe ek communikeer, en ek is nie kwaad nie, I'm not angry, maar that's how I am. And we need to learn in the working place of how I communicate. That's very important.
I'm a farmer.
Yeah.
There's stuff needs to be done.
Yeah.
Sê jy moet daai gaan water gee en dit gaan doen en dit gaan doen. Hoe moet ek dit nou praat? Moet ek nou sê, hallo Piet, hoe is jou ma en hoe is jou pa?
Nee. Kom ek, ons het gister daaroor gepraat, kom ek sê net gou iets. Just like we have a culture that we grew up with in die huis. South Africa, outside as a society, has its own culture, right? But business also has a culture. Okay? So it's very important to know it. That in business, it's a culture. That's why you can have an Indian and you can have the most hot climate people. When they operate in business, they change. They becomes the most direct one, because business has culture. And when you walk into that culture shapes. And all the guys that's in business, you know if you are hot climate, jy gaan nie geld maak nie. So there's a farm culture, and daar's 'n kerkkultuur, and daar's 'n werkskultuur, and so all our little places has the culture, and sometimes it's for us to know, of course not on the farm. As jy 'n plaasboer is, en jy moet goed doen, nou daar's 'n verskil om te skree. Man, ek weet dit. But You must be as firm as you think that is required to do the job. Can you see what I'm saying? And sometimes part of it is just to get to know one another, because you want to get the maximum out of the people that works for you, that they become your side. That's the important thing. So when we went into the community in Durban, and it's just Zulu, of course I can't speak Zulu. I worked for the last, probably there now, 20 plus years. My first 12 years is just really to work to a place where they will protect everything we build in the community. And we have big property. We have a bakery. We have computers. And every second week they would break in. And I had to work so hard so that it's theirs. So if I'm not there and something happened, when I hear they've taken the police to the house because they know who stole it, because it's theirs. So sometimes we need to really work hard to get the best out of it. And so now they're working for us. So on the farm, if you are a farmer, of course there's a farm culture. Die goed moet gebeur, die koeie moet gemeld word, die skape moet geskeer word. What else? There's 110 things that needs to happen. It needs to happen. But when I communicated, it's listen here. And I'm also communicating like that. And so in the house, for instance, my familie sal vir my sê, asseblief, wanneer jy inkom, moenie met ons praat as if, because that's how I communicate. Guys, dit en dit moet gedoen word en dit and everybody feel we have to do it now. En my vrou sê vir my, ek voel altyd ek moet hardloop. So nee, dit is die waarheid. And you always want to, and so I have to learn to, when I walk into the house, ek moet die hoed afhaal, daar's 'n manier om te kommunikeer, and I need to create a culture in the house so that my children don't feel they have to hop. But I still want it to be done. En sommer nou. Maar ek moet dit net anders kommunikeer, ja. Ja, asseblief. Ja. 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 Dis reg. Verander. Ja. En daar's en it's those small coups. Net daai klein goedjies wat gebeur en dit verander. Ja. Maar dit is 'n goeie, gaan maar. Nee, jy moet vra. Ek weet jy vra namens almal. Ja.
Wat vir ons kultmense 'n groot moeilikheid.
Ja.
Nou staan daar 10.
Ja.
Nou vra ek, hoorie, ons moet nou wie het hierdie gedoen of wat gaan doen? Dan staan almal net so.
Ja.
Wat moet ek doen? Hoe kry ek dit reg laat hulle opstaan en saam praat?
Ja.
Gister kom kinders hierso, hulle moet ietsie eet. Hulle staan net daar. Ek sê kom eet nou iets, vat 'n bordjie, hulle vat nie 'n bordjie, hulle doen niks. Wat doen ek om dit anders te doen? Ek weet nou, maar jy moet my antwoord.
Ja. Wat gaan jy maak?
Wat ek gaan maak?
Ja.
Nee, sê jy.
Nee, sê jy ek wil jou bemoedig en oplig. Sê, wat gaan jy doen?
Wat ek nou geleer het
Ja.
by die boeke.
Ja.
Ek gaan haal dadelik van Naas,
Daar sê.
haal dadelik vir Sjabonga.
Daar sê.
Ek is die hoofman, hy praat nie met my.
Dis reg.
Maar ek gaan kry een van hulle om met hom te kom praat. En dan sê ek vir Sjabonga, sê vir die mense om brood te kry.
Dis reg.
Dan praat hy met hulle en hulle doen presies wat hulle sê.
Tot op 'n punt waar hulle sal kan luister na jou, moet jy vernaas kry. En dit is hoe ons dan moet leer, how can we make best the communication so that it work? So dis dieselfde daar, wanneer ek instap in ons projek, hulle noem my Father Wilson. Highest respect, Father Wilson. They never talk to me. Nou ek is al jare daar. So ek het A, B, C, wat almal, niemand weet dit nie, maar alles almal die mense wat alles gaan, ek gaan alles weet wat daar gaan sonder dat ek dit vra. Because I know how to call Naas in, if I can use that name. And Naas will help me to do the talking. So that's the one side. The ander kant is, because I'm working with them and I'm training them to leaders, somehow there must be a shift in this culture that we're building, whereby I don't have to always call somebody else, that they will have to look at me and begin to talk to me. And I need to help them to get there because we can't do that forever. And this is die groei. Maar in die begin is dit baie belangrik om te weet, en veral as jy wit is, kom ons herken het nou, nie dat wit 'n probleem is, but because you're white, sometimes people feel inferior. You ask the question, they will not answer it because in the culture, they're not allowed to even look in your eyes and speak back. So there's a whole lot of things that happen. And sometimes what you think is because they don't love you and hulle wil nie op, it's not that. It's a whole cultural thing that we need to understand. And then you need to get NAS or somebody else that can be that interpreter so that you can get the information and begin to work with it. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. 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 Hou net gou aan. Hou net gou aan en dan kan jy verder gaan. Ek wil net vra want dis 'n belangrike punt. Het jy dit al agtergekom wanneer jy in die who of you have noticed what you just said? Then they said good morning. So what are they saying to you? Can you see? So because the hot climate and it's so wrong to start to talk about business, but you haven't said hello because they want to feel good. And then of course, when you said hello, how are you doing? Now you can say whatever it is. Now if it's your business, of course, you want business to happen. That's why I'm saying for farmers, there's a culture in farm. Okay? And for the church, there's a culture. And for business, there's a culture. And you can't let these things overrule that because then you're not going to make business. Then you can close the business. So you have to work within that culture to get the maximum out. In other words, sometimes you have to be cold. Cold is not a sin. That's why we talk about it. That's niks verkeerd met dit. We're just saying it's important to understand there's cold and hot, but we're not saying that's wrong. Yes. Ja.
So my koffiewinkel het ek nou 'n situasie gehad. Ek is nou die eienaar.
Ja.
Twee van my twee dames is warm.
Ja.
Ons is eintlik almal warm.
Ja.
Nee, maar nou het ek 'n dametjie ingebring. Wat ook nou ek wil weet hoe hanteer ek hierdie situasie nou, want nou wil ek hulle almal happy hou.
Ja.
Dis nou twee vrouens in die kombuis.
Okay.
Een is warm,
Een is koud.
Hoe roep ek hulle nou saam in, sit hulle om 'n tafel en laat nou my warm dametjie sê wat sy van hou. Koue en sy van hou, maar ek wil hê die kombuis moet ran.
Ja.
Just repeat that. I'll always become.
Okay. 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 So she has somebody in a coffee shop. She has somebody that has been working with them, and they basically on the same page in terms of being warm culture. But now she got recently somebody in the coffee shop, and the person is hot climate, and of course, I mean it's cold, and of course the number one goal of the coffee shop is to make money because it's a business. But then you want to also make sure that there's synergy and keep them happy. And the question is, how do I keep them happy? And how do I ensure that the business goals is accomplished and I can have this relationship? Let me put it this way. There's no quick fixes. So the moment, what helps you is the fact that you immediately saw when this new person came in, oh, she's hot climate. Now that helped you. I mean, cold climate. So that helps you. So already you know there are certain things that's going to be different from the person that used to work there, and perhaps the potential is now much bigger in the kitchen, in the working place, that the two of them will have conflict.
What I also see in hot and cold is the older one, that is the longest,
Yeah.
feels the
Of course, it was. They will be. But it's now your responsibility to make sure that you go and sit down, not with both of them in the same time, that you will go and sit down with the person that just came in and talk about a little bit about this and how the values of the coffee shop, the goals of the coffee shop, the expectation of the coffee shop, and then when you finish that, bring them together and help them to understand without going too deep in. Listen here, you are what we call from the hot climate people, and you are cold climate, and this is what I mean. You like relationship and you feel good in that. And listen here, when it comes to the kitchen, this is my expectation. But we have to always communicate to get the maximum out. But I would not suggest that you go and sit with both of them. Go to the person that just came in, and then just share a little bit your heart and the goals and the values and the goal, and then bring them in. And we will have to continue to work on it. It's not things that happen overnight. Any other question? Yes, there in the back, and then I come. Take the mic. Ja.
Ek wil net sê, ek het die voorreg gehad om in 'n militêre huis groot te word. My pa was die vriendelike oomie op die basis, die RSM. En ons het in hierdie militêre omgewing groot geword. In 69 in Saldanha, toe ons van die trein afklim, Januarie maand, die eerste woorde wat hulle vir ons gesê het, hier dink jy nie, jy praat en jy doen net. Verstaan nie, so die meeste van ons ouens wat hier so sit, het so groot geword.
Ja.
Ons is gereed gemaak vir hierdie verskriklike dissipline.
Ja.
En ek dink dit was eers in 1994 wat ek 'n nuwe woord geleer het, en dis die woord negotiate.
Ja.
So, dit lyk vir my die probleem is, wanneer ons as kulture dis saamwerk is, wat ek ook baie keer vir mense in huweliksberading sê is, jy moet selfs binne jou huwelik negotiate hoe jy gaan fight,
Natuurlijk.
hoe jy gaan beklei.
Dit natuurlijk.
En ek dink dis die moeilikheid wat ons het, is dat ons sal met ons werkers en mense moet gaan sit en negotiate, hoe wil jy hê moet ek opdragte
Dis
gee?
reg, dis reg.
Is dit wat jy dink?
Ek dink dit is 'n pragtige gestel. En ek dink as ons begin besef dat we can get much more out of the people that works for us if we can negotiate and tap into their ek wil amper sê denkpatrone en hoe hulle dinge doen. Jy gaan baie meer uitkry. Ek praat byvoorbeeld met die ouens daar, die mense wat van Holland wat met ons kom werk het, ek het laat hulle nou die hele projek lei, en hulle was Hollanders, en jy weet, het maar geld gehad, en as hulle ingekom het, yes, en die swart ouens aan die werk gespring, and they were running and working, and I saw it. But when they gone, they would sit. And when I took over, I sat down with them. I said, I knew what you were doing. I said, you never work when they were not here. And then when they were, and they said, yeah. I said, but that's not what we work. If you can't work when I'm not here, then don't work. I said, and now we have to negotiate that you can't do that. And we're working very hard. And I can see how it changed. And sometimes we have to do that, sit down and tap in, and we need to maximize. I can't change them, but how can I use what we have to get the best for the farm or the work or the church or the leadership? Your hand was up.
Yes,
Oh, sorry tog, daar moet ja. Kom ons bring maar daai. Die vraag kom nou uit, maar dit is mooi.
Dankie. I'm coming from a industry where it's very labor intensive.
Okay.
And when there's sometimes irregularities on the workforce or on the workplace, there's always one or two of them, of the employees, that if I can say is quite stubborn,
Yeah, yeah.
influencing 99% of the rest. My question is, how do you diffuse that?
Yeah.
Number one. And number two, how do you communicate with those
Yeah.
kind of employees?
Yeah. Ek wil net sê, now you're asking a question. I had the privilege of working outside of what I normally do with a huge company, international one, Dow. Dow is in Durban, but they're all over the world. And they're on the stock exchange. And when we had the looting, remember when we had the looting and then it was all that stuff, the plant, and they do all sorts of chemical stuff. And I mean, even if you go on their website, they would not allow you to see. And so, long story short, somebody in America remember me, and Dow was looking for somebody to help them because they had a huge conflict, and they had with the, is it COSATU or somebody that was involved and racist, and so we make an agreement to work with them, and it took us maybe a year to work through the whole plant and to resolve the conflict. But I just want to come to what you say. Part of the culture within the African, and we're not there, but anyway, within the African culture is sometimes when somebody speak, they speak on behalf of everybody. So that's difficult because you have in Durban it was 3 guys that was this stubborn, racist against Indian and against the colored people, and they were fighting, and the Indian guy was the main guy, and I asked them. So I walked in and I said, listen here, I just want to see everybody, don't tell me who they are. So I saw everybody just to find out what's going on and who they're. So I had certain questions to ask. And those 3 people, their solution was, the Indian guy must go. And so they influence the whole group. So what we then did, because then I realized what was happening. So I then say, I just want to meet with the 3 guys. And we started to talk, and I go into the culture and a little bit their families and begin to communicate hot climate culture to them in terms of their future and the work and how it influenced not just them. It influenced the whole guys. And I think the first 2 meetings, they were just stubborn. No. And then I met with them again, and then all of a sudden, they changed their attitude. Okay, we are willing to. So sometimes it's difficult, but you have to then take those 2 people or those 3 people and trying to sit down with them. And if you're working with and you don't have a Dan, maybe get somebody like a Dan that can speak from a different angle, somebody that will listen. And I think because I was African and begin to communicate very warm with them and talk about the family and what it will mean if they lost their job, all of a sudden, I just helped them to think, and they realized, whoop, and they changed. Now, Dow, last year, their plant made the biggest profit in the whole of Dow in Southern Africa because the whole culture changed. And the whole workplace, the environment changed, and it's fantastic. So sometimes it takes a long time. It takes us a year plus to work with it. But there's no easy outs there. There's a hand here, and then we will go there in the back.
I also want to know, we get all type of cultures, Boere, Afrikaner,
Yeah.
and Zulu, everything.
Yeah.
So it's not everything is bad, but not everything is God. God's
you're right.
culture.
You're right.
There's a difference between our cultures and a kingdom culture. When somebody come into the kingdom culture, there's a lot of good things what we can take out of every culture. But what is God's culture?
Yeah.
What is God's culture in the kingdom? You know, what's a kingdom culture? So that's one of the things.
Yeah.
And then normally I always experience when I talk to people and I say to them, who have the most value, you or me? And then they start thinking about your car, your house, and all that stuff. I said, no. Your value and my value is the same because it was the same price who was paid for us. And suddenly they understand that we are on the same level. And that's from that place of we start speaking to one another and they accept it. But otherwise, if they talk down to them, they always feel like inferior or,
No, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. We'll give it to you. soos net daar agter. Every culture has a sinful element in it, and we're not even talking about that. And of course, we should live within the kingdom culture, which is a different topic, but I think you're right.
Another thing I came across is I start talking Zulu to somebody, to
Yeah,
people, and then they start talking English back to me. How do you handle that? The first thing that I think about is, aren't you proud of your language? Why do you talk in English back to me when I greet you in your language, like Saninbona, Gunjani?
yeah. My voorstel is moenie eens iets inlees nie. Don't even read into it. I think the moment we read into it, you know, you're inferior of your culture, and sometimes people just feel like they want to respond because it makes them feel better if they speak English with you. It's a way of them feeling better. But I think the moment we begin to read things into it, ons vererger het. Yeah, and it can be sometimes, like my father's Xhosa. I don't even try to speak in KwaZulu-Natal. It's just two worlds, and you know, the past with the Zulu and the Xhosa people, they've always fight, and I don't even go there. So sometimes, just let's make it easy, and try to see what is the things that we can cut out so that we can synergize and working together.
I just want to ask, let's say there was conflict between cold and hot climate.
Yeah.
How do you fix and repair that relationship that's been hurt between, now we can admit we make mistakes, but
Yeah.
how do you go from there on forth?
Yeah.
What do you do now?
Ek wil nou nie, I don't want to go into conflict management, but if you leave the conflict too long, it can grow to a point where you will have to get somebody in to mediate, because the fact that you are cold and hot climate, and somebody that will be able to help both of you to see the differences. I always say when you sense it, and it's that principle, when you go and put your stuff on the altar and you know somebody has something against you, just leave it there and go back and make right. And so we have to be quick. I always walk around and just when I feel something is not right, I just stop and said, have I done something wrong? You didn't greet me today. Het ek iets gedoen? Because I always want to, and if you leave it for too long, it becomes very big, and I've seen it in the same organization. People can't work with it, but hier's die woord wat ek wil vandag sê, wat julle moet onthou. Be curious. Stap bietjie uit jou kultuur uit, stap uit jou dit wat jy weet, uit jou gemaksone uit. Be curious. Leer 'n bietjie iets. Kom vra my iets van my kultuur. As jy dit nie verstaan nie, if you don't understand it, don't criticize it. If we are more curious, the world will be a better place. I love cultures. I go to India and I go to Germany and they want to translate to me, and I said, don't translate. Ek wil leer. I want to learn German, and I want to be able to embrace it, because I'm enriching myself. En ek het vir die Here gesê, help my. I always want to be learning. As altyd iets wonderlik wat 'n mens kan learn. Let's be curious. Kom ons wees nuuskierig. Almal? Daar's 'n vraag. Ja.
Ek weet nie hoeveel van die mense wat hier sit vanmiddag kan die taal praat.
Ja.
Vir my 'n baie moeilike probleem. Ek weet nie waaroor jy die swart mense lag nie. Jy kry hulle en dan sit hulle en lag hulle. Ons verstaan nie. Het hulle humor? Is daar humor in die swart mense se
Natuurlijk is
kultuur?
daar. Ja, natuurlijk.
Wat is die humor? En ons skole is daar baie min kinders wat regtig waar die derde taal leer.
Ja.
Die Bella sê, wel, daar gaan nou een taal wees en dis Engels. Ek weet nie, vir my is taal.
Ja.
Die boere kan dalk die taal praat.
Ja.
Ek is
Maar-
30 jaar hier, maar ek kan nie die taal praat en ek verstaan hulle nie.
Yeah, but that's the challenge. Dis die uitdaging. That's the challenge why we're here today. Kom ons praat bietjie. Hoe kan ons mekaar se tale nader kom sonder dat ek nou moet gaan Zulu leer en op hierdie ouderdom en sonder dat ek daar. But what is some of the things, the cues that we can follow? Natuurlik praat ons nie almal iemand se taal nie en op jou vraag, of course there's humor in the African culture and there's humor in Afrikaans. We don't always understand it. I remember I go and speak in Australia and I'm trying to make a joke and nobody laughs because they don't understand my humor coming from South Africa, which is real. In South Africa, you might not understand it, but die punt oor vandag and the reason why we talk about this is let's create a little bit of heaven in South Africa where we just reach out of our comfort zone and without wanting to change people, but grow a little bit closer to one another. Yes, and then we come to you. You've got the mic, and then bring us the mic. Yeah.
When hot climate people choose a chief, for example, in a meeting, do they choose a chief based on the fact that that chief is a senior director, the boss, or is it because that person has asked them specifically, can you answer the question? For example, could I be the chief even if I'm not the boss? Because I've asked them, Bontle, can you please give your opinion? Or must the boss ask them?
It's a good question. Now, it's a deep question that you asked. How does this church choose their leadership? Which criteria? So every culture has their own codes, and every culture has their own traditie. What is it in English? Tradition, whereby a chief is selected. And many of our cultures in South Africa has never walked away from it. It's normally somebody that everybody recognizes, the elder, somebody that knows within the culture. That's how they would choose it. But I would not be wanting to be an expert to tell you it's based on 1, 2, 3 in the culture. But it's very cultural in South Africa within your Zulu culture, how they would choose. And sometimes it's not just old people. I mean, if you see the Induna in Durban, that just gave us some land for the project, it's a young man. So certainly it has changed over the years in terms of the criteria of how they choose it, but it's sometimes within the lineage, it's sometimes within the bloodline, and there's many things there, and coups and stuff, how they choose somebody. And it will be for different churches choosing their leadership in different ways. In the same time, iets wat ek is, sorry, you have a question, and then I just want to talk one more thing about direct and indirect. Just the mic here.
Okay, I was a staff sergeant in the army. And what I learned, I was a woman. That was a very other position to be in. And the people said to me, you will never get to them, but you know what I did? I tried to get to the I tried to get to the people themselves. And yes, I was an instructor, and I gave them I was a signaler. I gave them all the stuff they have to know. It was secret. And then what happened is I have to drill the whole escadron back to the field where we have to be. And so what happened is that when I stood there, I said to them, and you know that's different cultures. That was Portuguese people, and there was no Indians, but there was other stuff. Other people that you have to, jy moet hulle
met hulle werk en kommunikeer.
Ja, jy moet met hulle kan kommunikeer. Maar in elk geval, toe het ek het gedoen en toe sê ek vir hulle, listen, I know I'm a woman, but I know that you can draw. And I have to take that escadron to the place where they meet.
Yeah.
And you know, they drilled so nicely. And on the when they stopped, it was so nice. The sergeant major turned around and he was so surprised who was drilling.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
but I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's what I give out.
Yeah. Just the last thing from me, and then you can speak, Johan. Direct versus indirect. And so there's no time to have a play here, but kom gou vorentoe. Ja. So my naam is John. Wat's jou naam? Amy. So ek is John. Amy is koud. So she's cold climate and I'm hot climate. Okay? En Amy, so jy wil dorp toe gaan en dan kom jy by my 'n lift vra. Jy soek 'n lift dorp toe.
Hallo.
Ja. Hallo Amy, hoe gaan dit?
Goed en met jou?
Ja.
Gaan jy Pretoria toe ry vandag?
Ja, ek gaan Pretoria toe ry. Hoekom vra jy?
Ek moet net gou dringend na toe gaan. Gaan jy nou ook sien toe kan ek 'n lift by jou kry?
I mean, ek het al klaar. I've got already 4 people in the car, but when do you want to go?
So wil jy nie ek moet saamkom nie of wat?
JMV wil kom.
Nee, net ek en ek het 'n sak.
Luister, ek het gesien my bure het nou net hulle kar uitgetrek en ek is seker hulle gaan ook Pretoria toe. Miskien moet jy die bure vra, Amy. Dankie, maar miskien moet jy die bure vra.
Okay.
No, so dankie jy, kom maar. So what happened when she is hot climate, she wants a lift. Wilson, can you give me a lift? But when I am indirect and I'm hot and she's cold, I'm hot climate, it's difficult for me to say no. No. Because my car has already 4 people. Ek het klaar 4 mense, as die plek nie. But I keep on asking her, when do you want to go? Is it you alone? But I don't have place in my car. Because hot climate people, they are not indirect. If I have to tell her no, the way we interpret it is rejection. Because I'm saying no to her. But if it was turn around, you know what? I asked for a lift. I mean, would you please go give me a lift? Sorry, the car's full. Bye-bye. Because she feels like, what else must I talk to you? It's very direct. Die kar is vol, daar is nie lift nie. And so when you are hot climate and cold climate as well, sometimes the way you communicate is very important because sometimes you can be direct and sometimes you can be indirect. Now, waar die groot probleem kom, is when you ask an African or a hot climate person and you're driving and you lost, het jy al dit oorgekom en jy's nou verdwaal. Now, and you ask them, listen here, where do I get, kom ons sê nou maar wat? Nylstroom. Now, they don't want to lose face, especially when you're white. They want to say something to you. Sês nee, en as jy nou hier afry en jy ry aan en dan draai jy regs en dan gaan jy nog regs. And I can tell you, they have no idea where they just showed you to. They don't know where they showed you to, but they can't say to you, I don't know, because then they're losing face in front of you. So then, of course, the difference with the direct person is, they want facts, they want to communicate this and that and that, and sometimes that's the difference. I know that you wanted to say something. Oh, okay. So that's very important. kom ons hoor nog gou, is daar 'n laaste, yes, daar in the back. Daar's 5 minute oor, ons moet klaarmaak, ons kan nog baie praat. Ons begin om mekaar te leer ken, ja, nou raak het.
Dit is iets wat jy my regtig mee kan help. Ek was in die jare in die kerk, was ek in 3 verskillende streke, die sekretaris van die streekraad, en ons het 'n komitee gehad van gemiddeld 8 persone, waarvan daar byvoorbeeld 4 is warme ouetjies en 4 is koue mannetjies.
Ja.
Dan in die etenstyd, wanneer ons by die Spur eet, dan praat ons Afrikaner boeretjies, dan praat ons Engels, wat ons nie eintlik meer goed is nie, om die warm ouens te akkommodeer. Maar dan praat hulle in hulle taal. En onmiddellik is ons kwaad, want hulle is onbeskof.
Ja.
Verstaan jy?
Ja.
En my dogter is tans in die situasie, ook in die plek waar sy werk, dat sy die sekretaresse is wat hierdie groot vergaderings bywoon, en dan sy moet notiele neem, en dan praat hulle in hulle taal, en sy dieselfde ervaring. Nou weet ek nie, hoe hanteer ons dit, want ons is dadelik kwaad, ons is, jy weet, die ouetjies is onbeskof, en hulle ag ons nie, en ons ag hulle, maar verstaan nie, en ons verstaan nie wat hulle sê nie. En hier sit ons nou, so as jy my kan help met die, hoe hanteer ek dit, jy weet, hoe gaan ek vorentoe?
Dit is 'n goeie vraag. Ek wonder net, en ek neem aan, hulle is deel van die groep, of van die span, of jy al ooit vir hulle gevra het, luister, help my net verstaan, hoekom praat julle aanhoudend terwyl ons, het julle nog nooit gevra nie? Is 'n goeie vraag om te doen. Ek het gelag in die begin toe jy dit noem, want ek weet waarvan jy praat. En dit gebeur baie kere binne die groep, en dan moet ek altyd teruggaan en sê, luister, nie almal verstaan nie, dit is hoekom ons mekaar akkommodeer, ons wil graag hê, dit is hoe dit moet wees, en dan moet ons dit weer oor en oor sê. Ek dink wat ek net wil noem, vir almal van ons het die geneigtheid, dis al wat jy net moet onthou, ons het die geneigtheid as gevolg van ons kultuur, wat ons unconsciously shaped us and tell us. Solank ons net dit weet, soms lees ons in die situasie in, woede, en kwaadheid, en wat ook al, wat nooit die geval is nie. Want ons het nooit hulle gevra, hoekom julle dit doen nie. Nee, ons sukkel, ons is bietjie ongemaklik om Engels te praat, ons weet nie ons hier, daar's soms 'n rede hoekom. So my voorstel is eerste, hulle is deel van die span. Ek dink julle moet 'n openlike gesprek hê en sê, dit is, ons akkommodeer julle, daarom praat ons Engels, en dan gaan julle aan, help ons net om te verstaan, we don't want to judge, we want to know. En as jy altyd daai gesindheid het, dan is mense gewillig om te sê, dis as gevolg van dit, en as daar nie rede is nie, dan sê, listen, kan ons 'n reël hierso sit, want ons werk saam, sodat dit nie ons onnodig kwaad maak nie. Wanneer ons by mekaar is, kan ons Engels praat. Ek maak 'n voorbeeld of wat ook al dit is. En sommige kere los ons die meeste van die tyd dit net so vinnig op. But ons gaan met hard werk. En ons, it's not just going to happen, en dan bid ons môre, en dan het die wonderwerk gebeur. We'll have to work hard to see the unity. Pastoor.
Baie dankie vir almal wat aanlyn was. Die boek is baie prakties. Iets wat ek geleer het wat staan. Ja, hy is baie prakties, jy moet net gaan lees. As ek jou uitnooi vir ete, of ek sê, kom ons almal eet saam, gaan die Cold Climate sê, kan ek betaal? Kom, dis my beurt om te betaal. The Hot Climate will say, yes, I expect you to pay. En dan is ons kwaad, ek moet altyd die wors koop, en julle wil 'n wors braai, en ek moet altyd die wors koop, bring julle 'n bietjie koeldrank. Hulle sien dit glad nie so nie.
Ja.
It's totally part of their culture, but if you invite me, you pay. En dis so, as ek saam met jou Pretoria toe ry, kan ek help petrol ingooi. Hy sê nee, jy het mos klaar petrol, jy kan mos maar net ry. Jy weet, maar wat Amy goed gedoen het, sy het die boek gaan lees, en for the first month or two, net observe. Kyk, waar sien sy die hot, waar sien sy die cold, waar sien sy dit, waar sien sy dit raak. Moenie probeer dit doen nie, probeer dit net raak sien. Die oomblik jy dit raak sien, en gaan na die boek het en sê, ja, dis wat die boek hier sê, ja, dis wat die boek daar sê, dis so. Plus 'n ander ding wil ek jou huiswerk gee. Gaan traai hierdie ding. As jy by Pick n Pay kom en jy vra, hoorie, waar is die koffie? Dan sal ek met 'n hot climber, nou is hy besig om te werk. Ek sê, skies tog. Ja, John, hoe gaan met jou? Hoe laat het jou shift begin vandag? Ja, hy is naderhand, okay, wat wil jy hê? Dan los hy alles net daar, en hy gaan help my. So ek bly met hom praat, totdat hy geïrriteerd is. Ek bly vir hom 'n vraag vra. My ma, nou kom sy, waar is die koffie? Vra nie toch eers ordentlik. Sy dink daar's niks fout nie, sy's nie lelik nie, niks nie. Sy wil net die koffie, sy wil gee glad nie om nie. Maar, as hulle my nou al ken, dan weet ek, ja, nee, Maroetie, wat kan ek jou help mee, jy weet. En ek dink net, uit my, Johan Brits, ek is haastig. Maar ek weet, julle almal is haastig. Dan is jy vinnig, en jy vra net die ding. Stop net 'n oomblik, en besef jy werk met, hot climate. Iets anders in die kerk, baie keer, sê maar, Saartjie is 'n baie meer hot climate persoon. Al is sy spierwit. Want sy is 'n relationship, haar persoonlikheid is relationship. So ek besef, ek kan nie net vir haar sê, hoorie, waar is die koffie nie? Ek sê, ai Saartjie, hoe gaan dit met jou? Het jy lekker geslaap? Bly om jou te sien, man, hoe gaan dit met Mich? Jy weet, en dan sê sy, Johan, waarmee kan ek jou help? Verstaan jy? So ek wil net probeer sê, en sê of ek reg verkeerd is, hot en cold en hot is nie altyd wit en bruin nie. So jy moet observe, maar as jy dit begin observe, dan snap jy dit. 'n ander snaakse ding net is, 'n laaste is, ek het nie besef, ek het gedog, Indiërs is hot. Hulle is so koud soos môre die hele dag. Man, hulle is besigheid georiënteerd. Dis besigheidsmense. Okay, ek hoop jy het iets geleer. Nou, ek gaan jou koffie, ek gaan vir jou pizza gee, jy kan nie pizza huis toe vat, want ek weet julle is hastig en julle is hot climate en cold climate en stuff, julle is net besig goed doen. Jy kom koop 'n boek, asseblief, ons moet al die boeke verkoop, en gaan lees hom, gaan kyk na hom. Ja, die boek het eintlik nog baie meer. Baie meer as wat hy nou oor kan be. Kan ek saam met jou bid? En jy kan maar, ons sal jou IOU ook vat, asseblief. Kom ons bid saam. Vader, dankie dat ons saam kan praat oor kultuur en ons help. En Jesus, U was die minste gewees. En dankie dat ons ook so kan wees. En dankie vir U liefde in U naam. Amen. Kan ek gou 'n voorbeeld net sê, vinnig, minuut. Waar in die Bybel is 'n hot and cold climate incident? Where in the Bible? You know, where's a very good example? Hy kom by 'n vrou by die put. Hy sê vir sy disippels dat jy gaan. Sy disippels sê, ons gaan kos koop. Hulle praat met niemand nie. Hier begin sy met die vrou praat. Hy begin met die vrou praat. Hey, hoekom praat jy met my? En my te doen, hè? Hulle gaan lees die storie. Hulle kom terug met die kos. Nie kos vir haar nie. Hulle sê, net ons kos. Sy bring die hele dorp. Sy's hot climate. Sy gaan bring die hele dorp en sê, kyk wie het ek gekry. Hulle is cool, dit gaan net oor hulle. Hulle is nie inclusive nie, net. Jesus kom en hy begin net met haar te praat. Nee, dit het ek nou die boek uitgeleer. Daar is hy.